Thank you very much, Caroline, and good evening here in Bali, and good day wherever you are, delegates online who participate in this fantastic day today. In the interest of time, I will try to be as short as possible. It will be a bit of a quick fire round of maybe impressions and key points that I took away throughout the day, but I think what I would like to say at the outset, this has been for me a truly enlightening experience. I would like to thank wholeheartedly to all the panelists, all the speakers, the moderators, of course to Caroline for having taken us very proficiently through the day. And so I think the takeaways are multiple, too many that I could fit into 4 minutes. I think it's for a good cause. I think everybody who has participated now in this event today would agree that it was important to take a bit more time on the very important question of the Sustainable Development Goals achievement and on net zero. And so I think we were very inspired by what we heard also during our last panel. When it comes to key takeaways, really in a sort of bullet point version, I would like to maybe start by saying that to recover strongly, we really can only do that by recovering together and looking at our standardization system, the international standardization system, the way we use it in the IC, ISO and ITU. I think interaction, interplay, but also interdependencies certainly is a strong common feature that we have heard today, because I think it's really about creating a sort of an enabling powerhouse of standards, even more than we already have. We have for the first time also been able to associate the World Trade Organization with our International Standardization Summit, which I think is a very important step to take. We have heard and we have been reminded of the very fundamental principles on which our standardization system is based for world trade, and I think that has been a very important reminder, also looking at to how world trade itself can become ultimately climate friendly and go to net zero. I think an important point was to further work on our ecosystem, standardization ecosystem, to populate standardization, as one of the speakers said it, and to also enable a much wider use than we already have today of all our standards and conformity assessment systems. And I think that speaks, of course, to the point of diversity, on which we, I think, already have achieved a lot. We have to work further to become even more diverse and inclusive. I think it was very inspiring as well to see the demonstration of the necessity of a gender lens. I think we already deploy a lot of efforts today in standardization also to have gender responsive standards, but I think we've looked at that again today through a new prism, also from a younger generation maybe, and I think that is an important point for the future, thinking that, considering that in Indonesia 65% of the population are actually digital natives, that we can really associate the young generation with what the standardization system is producing. Of course, in that context, the digital technologies play a key role, AI and other digitally disruptive technologies, and we have that vector, that global vector of standardization to work on that to improve the situation in many respects of our lives, but at the same time we have huge opportunities to really reap those benefits from the digitalization if we do it right. And there again, I think the increasing respect and inclusiveness of different factors that are being taken into consideration by our experts will play a key role as well, that we're not just focused on one particular, even siloed aspects of the digitalization. We are really today at the critical juncture, especially when it comes, of course, to the achievement of the sustainability goals and net zero. The international standards can provide the best practices and guidelines and facilitate knowledge sharing also in that respect. And the conformity assessment as well will play a key role in that if we get it right. And as I've said yesterday on the occasion of a press conference here with journalists especially from Indonesia, I think IEC, ISO, and ITU are like the three sides of a triangle. We are supporting one another. We work very closely together. We're offering complementary solutions. But I think we also have to think about our ecosystem, not just looking at ourselves within the three organizations. We too need to reach out more. And I think, again, having had the WTO today for the first time participate in our International Standardization Summit was a very, very important step. So I would like to close my brief remarks with a look at this wonderful symbol, at this logo of the Indonesian G20 presidency. We have heard today that this is a symbol for also the Balinese diversity and inclusivity, a new chapter of green, of green and inclusive development. And I think if we look at that symbol, and we heard just earlier today that we need to look at all our challenges also in terms of sustainability with a moonshot mindset, I think that fits nicely against the backdrop of that logo of the G20 presidency of Indonesia, looking and aspiring for more, even more transformative solutions, not just what we already know. And of course, I have to close by thanking, really from the bottom of our hearts, our hosts, the G20 presidency of Indonesia, and in particular, our deepest gratitude to Mr. Kuku Ahmed and his entire team at BSN for the tremendous efforts for many weeks and months. You have done an absolutely stellar job in organizing this event. This was perfect. It was more generous than anybody could have wished for, and everything was perfectly organized and executed. So really, thank you very, very much for all that. This takes us to a new level. This is the third International Standardization Summit, but this takes us to a new level. We have been able to build on the legacy of what our Saudi and Italian presidencies have already allowed us to do. And so you have taken us to new spheres, and we are looking forward to building on that going forward. So thanks to everyone for being here and for having prepared or contributed in any other way to this great event.
Thank you very much, Mr. Philip Menziker, IEC Secretary General and CEO. Next, for the closing remarks, we kindly invite Mr. Sergio Mujica, ISO Secretary General. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all of you, and good day for all of those participating virtually. It has been a great day. Very rich and substantial discussions, which have given me hope, I have to say. And my first words, I like to echo Philip in thanking Papa Kuku and your wonderful team working together with our teams in Geneva to deliver this wonderful event. Why are we here today? The World Standards Cooperation is the main three relevant standard organization gathering where we have tried to raise our ambition. At the beginning, it was about promotion of standardization. Then we wanted to coordinate our efforts. This has been highlighted several times today. We cannot duplicate our effort, we need to coordinate better. But now we're in a different place. Starting the journey in Saudi Arabia 2 years ago, then we continued in Italy, and now here in Indonesia. What we want to do is to combine our efforts to provide solutions which are concrete and actionable to the global challenges. So we are here today to help, and we want to invite the G20, and through the G20, the world, to use our solutions, our standards. We're in a very complex and challenging context. To begin with the climate change or the climate emergency, because we are not on track. There is, according to United Nations, there is a window of opportunity, or now or never opportunity, because some of the effects of climate change are already irreversible. No matter what we do, the sea level has already raised, and we cannot change that. But there are many other things that we can do, but the effects will be seen in only 15 to 20 years' time. And that brings us a huge sense of urgency. The three organizations are fully committed to address climate change. In particular, ISO approved the London Declaration a year ago, which we have now transformed into a very concrete action plan, including standardization, where we are mapping our most relevant standards against climate change. But we have also created new deliverables. I'm so happy that both Kaya and also Masamba highlighted this in the previous panel discussion. We have produced an IWA, a workshop agreement, to have a common terminology and guiding principles of net zero. Then a second key global challenge is COVID emergency. We are starting to see light at the end of the tunnel, but this has been a very difficult and challenging time, and especially when it comes to the recovery, which is very unbalanced. And finally, the global economic situation. And only a few days ago, the IMF released the latest global economic outlook for the year 2023, and it is projected a global growth of 2.7, which is the worst since 1991. Only in the financial crisis of 98 and the first year of COVID, we saw something similar to this. And why does this matter? Because this very challenging context, it's very difficult when it comes to conveying a message that we need to put urgency on the SDGs and the priority of the climate change. Because many organizations and companies are fighting for survival. But we cannot lose sight of what we want to achieve here. The SDGs are indispensable, and as was said in the previous panel, this is not about carbon neutrality, this is not about technology, this is about people. What we do here will have a direct effect on how good or how bad is the situation for concrete people. So here we are in this context. We standardizers talking together to the G20 and through the G20 to the world with a very simple but important message. We're here to help. Because we believe that our international standards can offer concrete and actionable solutions to the global challenges. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sergio Mojica, ISO Secretary General. And now I would like to invite Mr. Chaisub Lee, Director of ITU Telecommunication Standardization Bureau. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. A very good day by virtual. I have to start with my timer, so you allow me only 5 minutes.
Thank you, sir.
I call myself as a techno-politician because I'm a technical engineer working around 27 years in standard domain, and I have served as a TSV director, as an elected officer in ITU, understanding of this political sense. So I called myself techno-politician. So rather than all greetings, I follow this addition to Phillips and the Sergio, all greetings. It was a fantastic event, really thanks to Indonesia, especially Mr. Kuku. Let me try. Let me try what I get some of a takeaway, because I'm an engineer. Try to focus on this, what the takeaway is. I'm very happy to see digital transformation is really common subject everywhere, everybody. And this, especially after having of this pandemics, we have a subject, this summit, take a subject, health, energy, net zero, as very timely subject. And I'm very happy as a UN agency, the UN Sustainable Development Goal is a global guidance to everyone. It's a very interesting part. And especially all those digital transformation is inspired by ICTs. As ITU, as a home for ICT development, we are very, very happy with this. Even during the discussions, I found of this security and interoperability in the health domain, other domains are wonderful. We normally talk about security, interoperability, our subject, but I found of such other subject is very interesting. And also we talk about the emerging technologies, AI, machine learning, all this. Emerging technology is very, very important, but I will challenge later on. We have to very seriously take into account of these emerging technologies, but not only following the technology. I want to highlight about this digital transformation. Digital is a technology term. Transformation is a process. Process is more complicated. But digital transformation itself is a tool. It's not our objective. Our objective should be how we can make a community sustainable, how we can make people smart. That should be the subject. So I claim now smart, sustainable digital transformation is our goal. Digital transformation always coming. At the last session, we have heard about innovation, how important innovation. It was several years terms. Now we call it digital transformation. But we never change of this sustainability, smartness. Even the weight is different. Several years ago, we started from the smartness, how we can provide the smartness. But now, after the pandemic, we are more focused sustainability. There are many, many viewpoints. Even smartness and sustainability has a different priority. One of the dilemmas of this international standards is unification of the world. We have to avoid. Indonesia, Bali, you have your own specifics. How we can keep up this your own specifics is most important. Based on this, we have to add smartness, we have to add sustainability. Each community, each country has a different priority, different subject. We don't need to unify by the name of international standard or any policy. That is important subject what I want to share with you. But in this sense, our international standards should be reference models for you. I don't believe any single technology apply every corner, everybody, every country. I don't believe this situation is gone. It's already gone. Issue is how we can utilize of this standard for your own purpose. That's an important subject. This is I believe this is one of benefit. 3 organizations, international organizations get together to show this our products for your considerations. And also, like today, interesting for me is listening what you think about. Especially this region is a great asset for me. So I take of this request, these listenings. When I return to Geneva, I bring these listenings to my communities. 5 seconds. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much to Mr. Joseph Lee, Director of ITU Telecommunication Standardization Bureau.